Right, Jack. Kyle, how's it going? Chris was here, but he's got to go to work. How is everybody doing? Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. How is everybody doing? 2011 Rugby World Cup. I've put the links in the description for Daily Motion because I couldn't find it on YouTube in HD and in English. It works for me. Maybe double check that it works on your end as well if you're planning on sitting here and watching the 2011 Rugby World Cup final. This one seems to be one that's got a bit of controversy about it in terms of the refereeing performance, but that's one thing I'll have to look at during this game. Sip Kiwi, man, long time no see. How's it going? Newton, how are you, bud? Where's everybody watching from? And let me know if the Daily Motion works where you are, because it's... Oh, God, I haven't been to Daily Motion for years. Leo says it's an early morning. What time is it in Scotland, man? 8 o'clock? 8 o'clock's not early if that's what time it is. Contender. Do I? Something. Flesh and good morning, man. How's it going? This would have been not long after that Welsh one. Morning from a French expat in Wales, mate. This one may not be the best of memories for you if you're going to sit down and rewatch this one. All the talk is that the French were robbed in this one. And I don't remember it being that way because I remember watching it and just being relieved that the All Blacks won. I didn't really focus on the refereeing performance. All I cared about was that the All Blacks finally broke their drought of not being able to win. Newton's in Vietnam. Good man. Novmum. Nah, I haven't been watching the cricket, Novmum, unfortunately. Jack's watching from Auckland. 8 o'clock is very early for a 16-year-old in the holidays. That's probably true. See, whereas I have two children under, like one's 5 and one's 2. So 8 o'clock seems like a dream. Like an absolute dream. Doesn't matter if the kids don't know if it's holidays, man. They just get up all the time. Watching here in Africa, do you know that Dusatoir had a bit of Ivorian heritage? I did not, man. I did not. But that's awesome. Patrick Hughes. G'day, man. How's it going over in the States? Jimmy, how's it going? Guys, if you're going to watch the game, let me know if you've got Daily Motion set up and let me know if it works. Like, I put the link in the description. When I say set up, I mean go to the website. Like, there's nothing to set up. But just check that it works for you because it's a bit of a difference from normal when we just watch on YouTube. Very fond memories of the day, the final. Overall expected so much to get trashed. Proud of how we fared regardless of the ref. Oh, that's a good mature attitude to have, mate. Hopefully, if you're going to stick around to watch, you can still feel that way once we watch this one. Cold, says Flesh, and there's a bit of frost outside. Man, you can see I'm in shorts, man. It's warm. It's warm. Jack, I think I am going to watch the anthems. It's a final. I want to get the vibe. So if you are going to watch, let's get cracking now because it's like 2 hours worth of video. So yeah, the link for Daily Motion is in the description. Hopefully it works. I don't think Daily Motion is like region locked or anything. It starts off with the Canadian coverage, but then I think it switches to the New Zealand broadcast as far as I am aware. So I am going to start the game in about 5 seconds. So 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Trust me, it does get to HD, I believe. It starts off a bit blurry. Link works. Good, says Fleshin. -2 degrees. That's cold even for Scotland, says Leo. Goodness me. Link works well. Good man, Jack. Yeah, it took me a little while to find it. I was basically just looking for two things. I wanted the English broadcast and I wanted it to not look like, you know, it was filmed in the 70s. So this seems to be alright, although it's just gone a little bit blurry. But from memory, it's mostly HD. Anyway, cheers everybody. Hope you're all well. Jonathan, good morning from Ireland. I watched Ireland versus England 2006. Crazy match. 2006. Have I watched that one? During lockdown, man, I watched a lot of historic games. That's not the O'Gara last... That's a game against Wales, isn't it? England v Ireland 2006. I'll have a look, especially if it's on YouTube. I'm a minute and a half into the broadcast. They've just got the choir out there looking to get ready for the anthem. The guys are still in the sheds. Eden Park is looking pretty bloody good, I must admit. It looks pretty nice. There's Doucetois leading his boys out. Awkward interview for him at the end of the game where he's like man of the match. From Malaysia, Sharil, how are you, brother? Fleshin says, -1 here. Apparently, feels like -4 and might snow later. All I can say is it's a balmy, like what? It must be 18? If it's less than 18, I'll be surprised. Let's have a look. $17. I was close. Triple Crown Decider. Big Shane Horgan. Big stretch try. Alright. I'll have to have a look. Dwayne predicts 8-7 to the ABs. Oh, surely not that close, man. The All Blacks beat France pretty easily in the pool game, so they should get this one comfortably. Surely. Nanapox says, been a while, just now opened my office wine here in China. Whereabouts in China? Whereabouts? How's the VPN going? Man, some of these guys in this French... I've just put the French line up on the screen because I am at 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Some of these guys are still playing. Not many, but a few. "28 degrees in Malaysia." Oh, wait. In Vietnam. Goodness me. Just out of Guangzhou. Okay, nice. I never really traveled the south when I was in China. Fleshin's trying to wipe out the semi-final. Yep, fair enough. I highly recommend the Lost Springs in Whitianga. It's very nice and relaxing. I don't know that I've ever been to Whitianga. I'm preparing to go to the South Island in a couple of weeks, which is brave because the last time I went to the South Island, I was only there like less than 48 hours and we went into a level 3 lockdown. So, yeah. Here goes the French national anthem. It's a pretty good anthem. I got them inspirational. Probably doing similar for a while as few family members have unfortunately tested positive. Ah, bugger, man. Sorry to hear that. Hope they're okay, though. Hope it's a mild version. I know New Zealand's ramping up their testing at the border with all the new cases in the UK and whatnot. They're thinking about doing pre-flight testing because at the moment you don't have to get a test before you get here. You just get a test on arrival. Honestly, it's a really good anthem. Joubert still has a search warrant in France. An arrest warrant, maybe. Honestly, that's one of the main reasons I wanted to watch this game. Because when I watched this game live, I was in a bar with an Aussie guy. I was in China, in Wuhan, which was not famous at the time, but now Wuhan is very famous. I was in a bar. There was no COVID. And yeah, I was just stressed out of my mind the whole time because the game was so close. I don't really remember the ref because I was probably just being one-eyed as. I don't know. Memphis, bro, I'm doing pretty well. Herman, man, how's it going? Such a weird World Cup. New Zealand was the best nation by distance overall, but got lucky in the final. The French had every right to be upset with the ref in this final. Yeah, man, that's one reason I really want to watch it, to see how the ref goes. I do remember thinking, even though I was stressed out of my mind watching the game, I do remember thinking we were lucky and we weren't the better team. I thought, even I felt we kind of got through it by the skin of our teeth at the time. Do I think Jock's going to leave Australia to play in New Zealand? I don't think so. Don't think so. Shivers looking at that French squad. Dusatois was a dream captain. Yeah, man. There's some talent in that squad for sure. Very poor referee against France. Honestly, that was a shame. Yeah, man. I'm very curious to see his performance and how kind of one-sided he goes. Lockdown in Scotland. I'm hoping we avoid lockdowns here in New Zealand, mate. In France, we remember the ref well. Now, if I want to put on my typical New Zealand hat, I'm going to say we remember the ref from 2000 and... I've blocked it, 2007. But anyway. Ideally, in a final, you don't want the ref to be a talking point. But it seems like he is a talking point. My daughter and granddaughter and son-in-law over Christmas, and I had to test and you were negative. Oh, you had to test? Jeez. Jonah Lomu wasn't playing. Patrick, 2011, Jonah is already retired. He played 95, he played 99. So yeah, he was getting a bit long in the tooth by this point. No, mate, I'm not showing the game, but the links are in the description if you want to watch the game. It's on Daily Motion rather than YouTube. Starting to believe the game was fixed. I like to think rugby never gets to quite that point of being fixed. I tested negative, but that doesn't make it any better. Sip Kiwi, I'm drinking Vailima. Taste of Samoa. It is a big bottle of 6.7% Samoan beer, which I was given for Christmas, so I saved it for a special occasion. It was morning in France for the final. I was in a bar on coffee with a whole lot of girls passionate about rugby while our men were working in a medieval festival. But love the atmosphere. A medieval festival? What? Am I up to the Haka? Yes, Jack. I'm up to the Haka. It's at 9 minutes and 10 seconds. The French have just advanced to the halfway line. Talk about the ref, what it was, but in France we love admire the ABs for spectacular rugby they play. I hope France is back on track to search for rugby. France right now, man, is looking the business. France is looking really good. And this French team wasn't supposed to do as well as they did. Agree, hard to think rugby game getting fixed. Yeah, it's not a sport because you'd have to get so many people on board. I think some sports like baseball or cricket might be easier to fix because you can get one player who's got one action to do something, but rugby would be harder. I'm not saying it's impossible. How many other classic games have you got lined up? This is the only one for the moment. I did a ton of them during the lockdowns. I did like 1987 final, 91, 95, 99. I think I got all the way to 2007. So, yeah. We remember the ref from the third Lions test, Carl? Yes. Every country's been burned by the ref at some point, right? The French just love to make the final every 12 years. Good point. Yeah, the All Blacks lost Dan Carter earlier in the tournament. They lost Colin Slade prior to this. Maybe in the semi. And then Cruden was our third choice. He starts this game. And he gets injured pretty early on during this game. So Stephen Donald is our fourth choice. He's the one who ends up running the show. So fourth choice, yeah. I don't have awful memories of the ref, to be honest. Just that one try, I wasn't happy, but I don't like blaming refs anyway. I also try not to go too ref focused. That's one thing that rugby fans, sports fans maybe, but rugby is a bit more open to interpretation, so we can be pretty bad on ref blaming. I like to think if the other team's better, I will tip my hat to them. And maybe this is one where the All Blacks get lucky. Let's have a look. We'll see. The game's almost about to kick off. Can we do 2015? I think we can do 2015. I think that one's actually on YouTube. So yeah, we should do 2015. France against New Zealand. Interestingly, I think because France was wearing dark blue and the All Blacks black, there was like a jersey clash. They've just kicked off, by the way. So France and New Zealand had to do a toss to see who wears which uniform. And France, I think, actually won, but to be kind of polite to their hosts, they opted to wear their away kit. Maybe they should have worn blue. Make the All Blacks wear a different colour. Well, the ref in the semi got us some stick for sending off, but it was his own fault. We lost in the end. Yeah, the Warburton tackle, eh? I think back in those days, the Warburton tackle wasn't as egregious as it is now, but it was still at the point where you can't do that anymore. New Zealand at home could not lose, and the referee understood that he was very bad. Yeah, I hear he is pretty bad. But I'll see. I know New Zealand's tries pretty well worked. Different colour in the final at home wouldn't happen. Well, I think it could have. If the French had just said, we want the blue, then the All Blacks wouldn't have been able to do anything about it, as far as I understand. Don't think we have ever lost in white. Can we leave ref blaming to football? Yeah. I'm with you. I know we've lost in grey, that's for sure. There is a vid about the final called Autopsy of Final where they show the replay and one-sided reffing. Yeah, I've actually watched that, but honestly, some of that stuff is even a bit questionable. But again, like that video, Autopsy of a Final, in its presentation said, "Look, I'm not going to be unbiased." It said it's not going to be, like some of the scrum stuff, you could argue one way or the other. If you read the comment sections of that video, it gets pretty ferocious. Don't mention grey, I know. Didn't like that dark blue jersey anyway. It's not a proper blue. Much prefer today's jersey. Yeah, that's probably fair. The wife got me a black Wales shirt for Christmas. It looks good, but feels wrong. Feels wrong wearing a black jersey. Nah, man, it feels so right. It feels so right wearing a black jersey. How do you feel overall about new breakdown laws? You could argue the breakdown, they're making it so easy to get turnovers is leading teams to not want to play with the ball. It's always one of those ones where it's like they have the idea, hey, let's make the breakdown laws easier for the defending teams to get turnovers. You get turnover ball, you get quick play, but the unintended consequences is teams are like, geez, this is dangerous to have the ball. Let's kick the ball down the other end. So it's a bit of a mixed bag at the moment. Yeah. April 2. Kia ora. A lot of whinging about the ref in this game, but a French ref has also gone over it and shown it was poor both ways. The moaning about it has to stop. Yeah, I'm also kind of keen to not moan about refs. All Blacks have lost big games at World Cups before, and it's never just the ref, right? It's always a combination of factors. I know Wayne Barnes missed a forward pass, but the All Blacks also made mistakes. Herman says, correct, Thierry Dusatoir won the toss, but said playing the ABs in white in New Zealand just felt wrong. He's a good man, isn't he? England has a black shirt. Yeah, that would look pretty good, didn't it? What was the game they lost in grey? Don't go there, man. Don't go there. Always get a joke present for Christmas. Last year it was England training top, and this year the Lions jersey. You never know. Scotland might get some guys in the Lions jersey this year, man. Fong, what's wrong with this game? It's a World Cup final. Good game. You wanted to watch Wallabies? We can do the 2015 one next time. Dean says, in South Africa, they seem to bring a lot of fast-paced games, but in Europe, it's promoting a lot of negative tactics, but then again, it's kind of flipped for the Champions Cup. It's been a real mixed bag. Yeah, some of the Champions Cup games have had, like, cricket scores. Man, Kahu just didn't touch that. Any news regarding Santiago Chocobates to the Blues? I've only seen it rumoured, man. I have only seen it rumoured. I didn't see any official confirmation as yet. Feels like you want to be wearing AB's black. Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. The black jersey is a nice one. I think that's why the Sharks is my team in Super Rugby from South Africa, because it's a nice black colour. April watched this in London, loaded with Kiwi snacks. We felt too sick to eat. Horrible game, has to be said. Wepu has just missed a penalty. I remember he has a pretty bad night with the boot. Yeah, April, I was also in a bar, but I was in China. I was in Wuhan. And I remember at one point in this game, Trunduk has a penalty to put France into the lead. And I couldn't watch it. I had to go to the bathroom. And when I came back out, I saw he'd missed it. And I was just like, because I felt like if the French get in front, they're not going to get back. They're not going to give up the lead. Jack, you must have been young when this game was played. Last 20 minutes was hell. I agree, Nov Mum. Why was number 9 kicking for the All Blacks? Because Cruden is stepping in for Slade, who had stepped in for Carter. And I think Cruden was very young into his All Blacks career at this point, so they figured World Cup final, let Wepu do the kicking. And Wepu had kicked well in some previous games. Had to mention the grey jersey, or well, back to therapy. Yeah. You were in a bar in Beijing for the 2015 final. Where did I watch 2015 final? I watched it here. Nice to see a full stadium. Yesterday, a Toulouse player was saying playing an empty stadium sucks. It's like making love by yourself. Oh, damn. Yep. In terms of the quality, this game was bad, but the tension is there. I agree, Jezza. That's one of those balance things, right? Do you want to watch a game where one team is just like on fire and beats the other team 40 points to nil? Or two teams that the defenses are on top and it finishes 1 point? Don't know. 2015 is still my favourite final in terms of the quality, and it's got a bit of tension in it as well. Did Cruden lose any tests when he started for the ABs? Herman, that's a good question. Man, Dusatoir has just smacked them, that's for sure. So, Jack, for you, the 2011 final is probably like what 95 was for me. I remember watching 95 as a child. 99 World Cup is a good one. I watched that one. I'm trying to remember what the key moments of it are. He almost did against Ireland in 2013, almost, but he managed to get that second shot at conversion, didn't he? My dream is a New Zealand-France final in 2023 with more tries than Champagne Rugby and the better team wins. I'll take a New Zealand-France final. But that French team, man, did you see that try from Dupont at the weekend? Magic. If it's my team, I want a blowout. None of this nerve stuff. Yeah, that's fair call. Ooh, one of the French guys is down. See, I've got New Zealand commentary on this, so he's already going a bit anti-France in terms of the refereeing. 2023, I think the All Blacks will be worse. Just have a feeling. Well, they do like to play players in strange positions at the moment, that's for sure. I think we're going to enter a period of French dominance. As of this year, they have 3 divisions of pro rugby. Teams is bound to further help their abilities to produce talent. And it seems like they're, I don't know, getting better out of their young talent than imported players recently, right? French players have been doing really well in the top 14. Which tier 1 side has the worst first 5? Man, that's a tough question. Not Scotland. You guys have got Finn Russell. You guys have got loads of first 5s. Ireland's got Sexton. England's got Farrell and Ford. Even though it's mostly Ford. Italy's got Carbisi, who's looked alright. Tommaso Allen. New Zealand's got Barrett and Moonga. Australia hasn't even been really playing a first 5. They've been playing James O'Connor and like Reece Hodge. They've been playing utilities at first 5. In 2023, what was that? 2023. As a Wallabies fan, I want to see a Wallabies France final, if that makes sense. Oh, Jezza. Will New Zealand versus France be the opening game of the next World Cup? If so, it's a hell of a way to open it. Cheers for the donation, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you, mate. Para has just gone off, by the way. Trenduk's come on. I think it would be nice. Japan played Russia in the opening game of the last one, right? So it may not be the All Blacks. I'm not sure. The 2015 final was the best, but I was miffed with Ref Owens in the first half. Remember, Carter got hit with 3 high shots, and all the ABs got was 1 penalty. See, I don't remember that either. But maybe we need to go back and watch it. Darnell, man, how's it going? What do you make of the orange card idea? Yeah, I did a video on that ages ago. It's got merit, but to be honest, I'd kind of like to see them not tinker with the rules every single year, because in a way that kind of drives me up the wall. Hopeful for France at the moment, but it's a long way till 2023. That's true. I'd imagine they'll make it the last pool game. France will want to build up momentum. Well, if Japan 2019 was anything to go by, they tend to stack the fixtures to help the hosts. That's just a thing. I get the feeling the All Blacks are maybe in the hunt for a try in a minute. Just sixth sense telling me. Heinrich, New Zealand, France, World Cup final. I think the All Blacks have got it. Let's have a look. Tony Woodcock's a pretty good player. Darnell's got the flu. That's no good, man. Deuce to our performance, man. The match. Here goes this All Blacks line out. Woodcock, he's clean through. Look at that. I remember when that try got scored, distinctly thinking, we got this. Like, ultimate arrogant moment, like, yeah, that was too easy. All Blacks have done their homework. They've definitely got this. The All Blacks have definitely got this. No doubt in my mind. I'm sipping a beer in Wuhan, telling my Aussie league mate, got this. We've definitely got this. Easy. Easy. Only on dirt. How are you, man? I'm doing well. Are we going to do Super Rugby Aotearoa live streams? Oh, for sure, man. Long dongs and the Chiefs getting beaten? Absolutely. You're getting up at 4 in the morning for sure. Gatlin going back to New Zealand after the Lions. Yep, he's got 1 year off his contract to go to the Lions and then he's back with the Chiefs. That move was called the Woodcock, yes. I wish we had won this game. This is cruel. I'm sorry, mate. I did watch... Did I watch the 2007 game? I think I watched it. So, yeah. Whippu's going to miss this one. Tian, my Christmas, it's been pretty good, man. I got given a rugby jersey and some beer, so it's like the dream Christmas, really. Oh, he missed that conversion. We needed that. Fung's not even watching the game and you know the move. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Also because, yeah, Para's gone off and Trunduk's on, so I'm like, not only have the All Blacks scored early, but the French have lost, like, their key playmaker. So we're definitely going to win at this point. 16 minutes in, it's 5-0. Whippu was a big weak link in this game. His kicking was definitely pretty costly. Flesh and I got a Leicester Tigers jersey, of all teams. Leicester Tigers. Go, Conrad. Richard Kahui on the left wing. Israel Dag. Have been turned over. There you go. Referees penalised the All Blacks. Hot on attack. Had Aaron Smith started his career yet? I think for Manawa 2, I think he gets an All Blacks debut next year. So 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Have you ever watched Ireland versus New Zealand 2001? God, how does that one go? I've got a terrible memory for games. I got a black one and a Scarlet's away shirt. Oh, you got 2 jerseys. I only got 1. Nice. Oh, Para's coming back on. Doesn't Trunduk still come on for quite a big period of this game? Anyway. What was your reaction to the Haka from the French? When I saw it at the time, I was pretty impressed. I was like, alright, that's what we want. We want like something to show they're ready for this game. Like England did the same thing, similar, in the 2019 World Cup, right? So, yeah, it was good. You remember going to the 2014 Super Rugby Final? Jeez. I've never been to a Super Rugby Final. Never. Because I support the Blues. Yeah. Anyway. They beat the Wallabies and the Bledisloe with the Woodcock, so I saw it coming a mile away. I suppose the French didn't see it coming. The video analysis stuff's probably come a long way since even 2011. Was Kerballo better than TJ in 2015? Kerballo was pretty good. It was Gatlin's last game in charge of Ireland. I think it was 43-29. Wow. I have to have a look at that's on YouTube. I don't think I've seen that, at least not for many years. 2001. Both kids in bed. Let's see how long before they go to sleep. Both my kids are asleep, not mum. They're pretty... I got my son. He's on like a military style routine with his bed time. My daughter's a bit more troublesome, but she's the younger one. She gets away with more. The Blues maybe next year. I know, man. At least Super Rugby Aotearoa is going to have a final, so maybe we can get that one. So it's on YouTube, so it should still be there. Okay, I'll have a look, brother. I'll have a look. I don't get back to work until next week. Lots of other Kiwis who love it when opponents challenge the haka. I love it too. Usually means a big game is coming. Yeah, Herman, well, it's an interesting one because, like, if you're from New Zealand, you're at least used to seeing high school teams where they usually challenge each other. So, challenge and then something else to respond. I think most Kiwis usually take it pretty well, eh? Like, there's always some nonsense talk. There's nonsense talk on both sides, like, about the haka. There's some people who get really precious that are like, oh, that's disrespectful. You can't sing, like, Waltzing Matilda, or you can't sing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot during the haka. Like, nah. You can. That's a response, man. It's not disrespectful. And other people get really defensive, like, oh, New Zealand shouldn't be allowed to do the haka. This is unfair. But it's not like it's a rule specific to New Zealand. There's a section there for it for all countries if they choose to opt into it. But, like, I reckon the haka, as a Kiwi, is just a very cool part of the sport. I think a lot of people enjoy watching it. If you look at, like, World Rugby's most viewed YouTube, like, videos, a lot of them are about the haka. Even my wife, who doesn't watch rugby, she'll watch the haka, and then as soon as the haka's over, she's gone. She doesn't want to watch the game, but she wants to watch the haka. So, anyway, I've gone on a bit of a ramble. Has Bowden Barrett gone already? Yeah, bro, he's in Japan. He is in Japan. Nono into a gap. Oh, they just brought him down. France will clearly be the biggest threat in 2023. So proud of how my country's improved. I live in Southwest France. So proud. Toulouse players. Oh, man, they're very good right now, Maxime. Dupont's try. I saw it on Twitter, but oh my goodness. That guy is amazing. Munster done their own haka one year, but they had a lot of New Zealand players. Oh, that makes sense. Aussie rules fan. I took a year of playing sport for rugby. I knew a lot about Aussie rules than rugby. Would be weird not having a haka before an All Blacks game. Would seem out of place. If you watch 2017 anthems and the haka Scotland New Zealand, the comments just how disrespectful we're for singing over it. Nah, man, they've had, and I don't pretend to be any kind of expert on Māori culture, but they literally asked a guy about this, like a guy who is an expert on haka, and he was like, nah, that's cool. If he says it's cool, I'm taking it as cool. Because traditionally there is something done by both sides. One tribe would do it to the other tribe. They do that war dance. And it's not always a war dance. It can be like a welcome. On your first day of school, you go there and the students give you a haka to welcome you. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's a thing. I was for France. I did regret that Dan Carter, says Matthew, and others were injured. It would have been an even greater game. Yeah, man. I was heartbroken that Carter got injured for this World Cup. Because we didn't have any first five or any fly half anywhere near his level. Despite, I mean, no disrespect to Cruden, Slade, and Beaver, but Carter was just on a next level. And Trundick is back on. Yeah, I thought he played most of this game. Yesterday, all of Toulouse game was really enjoyable. Toulouse are a fun team to watch, I gotta admit. Was Bowden Barrett allowed in Japan? Japan have had some odd rules about the virus and foreigners. Yeah, I saw that Jamie Joseph can't get in. But I do believe Bowden is there and scored some try in a preseason game, so I don't know how that works. DuPont with another worldy try. I know, man. He is an amazing player. Ooh, messy lineup for France. The Haka is not just a New Zealand tradition, it's a rugby tradition. Yeah, they do it in other sports as well, but it's very much a big part of rugby. Māori All Blacks last Haka was spine tingling, yeah, against Moana Pacifica. Yeah, Para looks heartbroken. 20 minutes and he's gone. Piranada is in Japan as well. Thank you, Jack. You're right, man. So Bowden Barrett is in Japan, but is still play for the Blues. When he signed up for the Blues, he had a clause in his contract which allows him to take essentially one Super Rugby season off to go and play in Japan. So he has exercised that clause. So that was always part of the deal. He also gets a break, which he already took. He might even have another break. Like, he got a really sweet deal out of the Blues. It's like, I remember for the entire length of his contract, he can essentially spend a big part of it on holiday and a big part of it on sabbatical, earning money somewhere else. So, yeah, he got a pretty sweet deal. The Blues were pretty desperate to sign him. I think if you get in, you can't leave, then come back. Oh, so Bodie's never left. But Jamie Joseph has. It makes sense. Which Japan team does Bodie play for? Is it Suntory? I think. Suntory St. Goliath? Maybe? Heard that rugby isn't growing in China. Rugby is definitely a big-time minority sport in China. I lived there 7 years and I never saw it being played once. So, there you go. Already 25 minutes in. Weepu's going to miss this one as well. All Blacks have had the better of this game so far, right? That's not just the ref. I know I'm looking at the chat half the time, but is that just me? The All Blacks have been the better team so far. Right? Anyway. Wonder what the strategy is to grow rugby in Japan by signing so many foreign players. Seems like they will lead the national side regressing. I think they have instituted some rules about what kind of players they can sign now. Oh, he shanked that one. It's a terrible kick. Like, I think they weren't signing props for a while because they wanted to try and get more game time out of their current props or something like that. Watch the New Zealand team's basketball Haka. The American players' reactions were almost comical. I wish the basketball team wouldn't do the Haka, man. It's awful. I've talked about it before, but it's awful. Not allowed to show historic games either. Well, I don't own the rights to any games, man, so technically I believe that is correct. Even if they're historic. Once, maybe you weren't here, I showed a Lions game. I watched a Lions game from the last tour of South Africa. And we were watching it on Rugby Pass's YouTube channel. And Rugby Pass was in the chat of my stream. Hey guys, how's it going? As if to say, watching you. If you're showing the game, you're stealing our footage. You never know. And Rand Dodrick has got it right. Yes, still under copyright. New Zealand should have been further in front. I agree. When I watched this, I always thought France were the better team on the day, but it's been so long, so I don't know. I feel like France were the better team from when I watched it in 2011 as well. AB is clearly the better team in the first half. They only froze after the Dusatois try. Right. Are you okay? I say that France should win this match if Joubert was not the ref. I guess that's one thing about watching this game now. I kind of want to see that. Like, based on watching this now, I don't think Joubert's had a big influence. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think New Zealand should be at least up 12 points to 0. But yeah, I remember Dusatois makes like 1 million tackles in this game. Like the French lineout was under pressure earlier, and that wasn't anything to do with Joubert. But yeah, I know his refereeing is questionable in this game. France will be the team to beat in 2023. You heard it here first. All that investing into the youth and coaching is going to deliver. There's a few teams who've been doing pretty well at the under-20s level, right? Like Australia's been doing all right. Italy's been doing okay. France has won a lot in recent times, so it'll be interesting if that pays off. I'm sure that others have asked you this. How good is your Chinese? Herman, it's all right. I can get around town. I can go to a restaurant and order food quite happily. I can have a conversation about the weather and about your kids' education. And I don't know, I can quite happily talk to people who don't speak a word of English and talk to them fine. I can't talk about any topics which are a bit tough, like on the vocab, like science, politics. I struggle. I can't read a newspaper very well. I can like read texts, but I can't read like a newspaper. I always miss out like whatever that key word is. Like I'll be able to read the whole sentence except for one word. It'll be like, yesterday in America there was a big incident which affected a lot of people, and that incident was, and I can't read it. So yeah, my vocab is sometimes the bit that lets me down. But yeah, I think I'm all right. My Chinese is okay. Impressive? Oh, I don't know, man. Herman, how many languages do you speak, right? All the faults on Morgan Parra during this game. Oh, Kaino has just lost control of it there. Some rules have changed so much, especially the breakdown. Rugby already looks fairly different, and it's only 9 years later. I agree, mate. I agree. The scrum is different. Batman, Merry Christmas, man. Yeah, for sure. Hope you had a good one. Is this pre-recorded or old as? This is from 2011. Oh, well, at least the officiating team got that one. Corey Dream was in touch. One tense game, James. I agree. This game was not an enjoyable watch when I watched it live. How is Ireland unbeaten at under 20s when the French under 20s won the last? I don't know. I don't watch enough under 20s. I think I was 12 when I watched this. The first game I can distinctly remember watching live on telly. Interesting, Dan, that you mentioned that, because the first game I distinctly remember watching live on telly is the 95 World Cup final. It seems like World Cup finals are often one of the first games you remember watching, eh? Just realised we're wearing the same attire. Like you and me. At least I know the outcome. I can relax. Yeah, I agree. This time you can relax. Pool game between France and New Zealand is going to be worth the wait. France will win. I'm already looking forward to that. It's 2023. And I'm already looking forward to that for sure. Blair, I put the link to the game itself in the description. So it's on Daily Motion. So I don't know. Like some people do phone TV. I'm on computer and TV. You were 5 when this happened. Goodness me. You're a young man. I was definitely older than 5 when this game was being played. Will you attend any matches of the next World Cup? I need to save some money. Yeah, if I save some money, I will. But I probably should start like putting some money away now for that purpose. Because it'll be pricey, I'm sure. Everything goes up at the World Cup. You're on dual monitors. Not mum, very wise. Ever think about getting into commentating? Probably not. I don't know, I probably could, but it would take a lot of practice, man. You got to keep the conversation going and going and going and going. You've got, Cruden's down. This is where Cruden goes off. He looks in pain. Yeah. Good commentators prepare a lot as well. They prepare a lot of stats and stuff. 2 cents, I'll buy you a ticket and show you around France. All right, man. I'll see you there. Tell my wife. Do you think skull caps will become mandatory for forwards? I'm not sure that they're like the caps they wear protect you against like cuts and like impacts on the outside, but the concussion stuff is on the inside. It's when your brain rattles against your skull on the inside. You know what I mean? Like you got your skull and then your brain is rattling around, banging up against your skull. That's what causes concussion. So the skull caps don't help, as far as I'm aware. You're a stats guy. I reckon you'd love that. Yeah, I do like a good stat. You know me. This is the first half, bro, and we are 48 minutes and 25 seconds in. Enter the beaver. That's true. Happy holidays, says a tribe called Quaid. Intense game. Wish Cruden was goal kicking before he got injured, but it doesn't matter now. Yeah, I guess, eh? He was still really young at this time, so they probably didn't want to put him under that extra bit of pressure in a World Cup final. I remember seeing that distinctly at the time as well, and as soon as I saw him hyperextend that, I was like, nah, he's done. He is done all day long. That's frightening. Yeah, I know. That NFL doctor who's the one who broke the story about like NFL concussions, he basically said if you get a concussion, you should be gone for the season. Like current protocols for concussion is what, like a week or maybe 2 weeks? He reckons it should be the season. Concussion should be like doing your ACL. It's a season-ending injury. He might be right, man. He knows a lot more about it than what we do. And yeah, Beaver's shirt. His shirt is much too small for him. I think he's wearing Aaron Cruden sized jersey. Remember this game? As soon as Donald came on, I was terrified we were gone. I had confidence in the Beaver. Although he almost misses that bloody penalty, doesn't he? I think it's time for countries like Ireland, Wales, New Zealand to host another tournament now as past to fall down the old assessment phase like Ireland did for 2023. Might be right. In MMA, if you get KO'd, there's a mandatory 3-month stand down. Honestly, maybe they should do that. Like, I honestly think Like, I don't know how much league you guys watch, but every now and again I see rugby league, and some of the stuff they still allow in rugby league has me freaking amazed. Like, it's total red cards in rugby union now, but they still allow that stuff in league. And I just read a story the other day on the back of that potential lawsuit coming for rugby union. Now there's some league guys who are thinking about the same thing. And I am not surprised at all. Like, the cynical side of me absolutely thinks, like, rugby trying to get the high tackles down. They've just missed the drop goal, by the way. Rugby doing, like, the concussion protocols, HIAs, all the return to play process. All that stuff has kind of been with one mind on, we're going to get sued. We're going to get sued big time. And rugby league just seems to be like, don't give a stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get sued big time. Big time. Agree about league, so many dirty hits to the head. Yeah, Herman, man. I don't know how they can, like, the power. I know, like, in New Zealand, we still have these, like, compilations on our mainstream medias, like, about big tackles. And nowadays, the rugby union ones very rarely feature. They're all league hits because those hits, if you're just looking for big collisions, they look awesome. But you know that's doing some serious damage to someone's head. And I can't imagine that's going to be allowed to go on for any length of time before somebody gets a lawsuit. Yeah. Scary rules my boys play and it frightens me, says Sully. Yeah, man. I think, oh man, what an ankle tap on Tranduk. What beer is this? This is Vailima. It's a Samoan beer, which comes in a pretty sizable bottle, and it's a pretty strong beer, so I got it for Christmas. No arm tackles, yeah. Yeah, league allows a lot that rugby doesn't allow anymore. And a lot of league guys are actually pretty proud of that. Like, yeah, man, we got the big hits. Rugby's gone soft. But I don't think in the age of doctors looking at people's brains, I don't think that's sustainable. NRL will definitely get sued. It's ridiculous. I agree. Stephen Donald, the reason he's fourth choice All Blacks fly half in this game is because, is it like a year before? He essentially loses a game for us against the Wallabies in Hong Kong by not kicking it out. And the New Zealand public's confidence and Graham Henry's confidence in him is like zero. Yeah. New Zealand could have won it if they just kicked it out, but he ended up kicking it long. Anyway. They're already brain dead with those comments. Unloved Mum, yeah, you know the one. That's the Hong Kong game. Bigger was allowed to play France after having something like 2 or 3 concussions, made you angry. A lot of Welsh friends too. Same for North. George North, like, honest to God, I think he should probably be retired. He's had terrible issues with concussion. So, yeah, it's not a joke, man. Like, they do need to take it. I know they take it pretty seriously. And I think rugby, for whatever reason, whether they're covering their own ass or whether they are genuinely looking after player safety, I think they're doing okay, but they probably could be doing more. Hence why I was terrified, says Steve. Yeah, you still got members of that Hong Kong game. League only banned shoulder charges back in 2012. Sonny Bill used to straight up body people and it got him into trouble into union. Yeah, I remember he took a while. There was a few rules which he took a while to adapt to. I think one day he like batted it into the dead ball area, which you can do in league, but you can't do in union. Can't see anything that can help both codes, and the head injury side is just part of the game. I mean, getting the lower tackles is one thing that they're trying. How effective it'll be remains to be seen. But like if that doctor gets what he wants and a concussion is like literally you're done for the season, then maybe that would help the long-term brain health of these guys, because even though they can play, maybe they shouldn't be playing. George is still playing. He should retire when he can. Like, honestly, if George North, Sully, if he gets... Like, if I see him in 20 years and I see, like, he's in the media having troubles with his brain, I will be 0% surprised. I hope not, man. I hope he's fine. But, yeah, he's had some bad hits to the head. You'd need a squad of about 80 players. I know, man. I know. And these guys would all have to take a lot less pay because the money would have to be spread a lot wider. I don't know. Think Tonga or Samoa is going to make the Rugby World Cup? I think Tonga's probably got the better team at the moment. That's half time. 5-0. What a low scoring first half. So I am going to close the first half one and move on to the second half one right now. How is New Zealand Rugby's finances doing? I don't have half their players' contracts expiring in 2020. I expect a lot of big names won't get new contracts. New Zealand Rugby did have to lay off a lot of staff, like admin and support staff. Some coaches lost their jobs, like Carlos Spencer, if you remember him. He used to be one of the coaches with the Hurricanes, but they had to let him go. So, yeah, not great, but I think they did get a bit of a bailout from the government. Crotty is another one who should retire due to concussion. Yeah, Crotty's had some pretty bad ones. Heaps less money, or quality will drop as well. I mean, if that's what they got to do, that's what they got to do. But I guess I'll leave that in the hands of the experts to figure out like what is the genuine safe amount of time you need to recover from a concussion. Like if someone still had a fractured leg, we wouldn't be like, you need to play. So we probably shouldn't be doing that for people's brains, but I don't know. Other people have said it's like, now that we have the awareness about it, you can compare it to other dangerous work, right? Is it like mining, You take higher risk of certain diseases. Like, I know people, if you do like uranium stuff, uranium mines, you basically are putting yourself at a higher physical risk. I don't know. What's King Carlos doing now? I think he managed to get another gig. I think he did get another gig, but he was let go by the Hurricanes. Even without the concussions, North should probably be thinking about retiring in the next few years. Yeah, probably true. Amateur France, we now can't even tackle above the waist. Double tackle is forbidden and the ball carrier can't go into contact head first to avoid concussion. Yeah. It was interesting you mentioned that because one of the guys, when we were talking about like Argentina, you remember Argentina in the 2000s used to have amazing scrum. Like their team was not the best, but boy could they scrum and scrum and scrum. And that's not been the case in recent years. Like at least like the last 10 years, Argentina's scrum has not been great. Someone who's based in Argentina mentioned that at like amateur levels, they don't allow like full-on scrummaging up until a certain point. So it seems like that skill set maybe is losing a bit of development at certain levels. I don't know. What do I think about Craig Joubert's refereeing during this match? I know it gets a really bad write-up, but I mean, and I'm kind of casually watching it with this and this at the same time, but I don't think it's been egregious so far. And France have just missed a penalty, which is going to prove pretty costly later. Big V8 show, man. We're in the second half. Second half, 3 minutes and a half in. USA looks to be growing well with Major League Rugby. Stupidly named teams aside. The Giltinis, the Gilgronis. I feel you. You should do a podcast and heaps of people would subscribe. Don't podcasts need to have like 3 people? I remember very painfully the Argentinian scrums. Yeah. I can imagine. Sam Warburton is an example of a player who, after seeing his body, actually went, you know what, I'm done, and nobody really blamed him. Maybe that needs to be a thing as well. There's been a few players, at least that I know of in New Zealand, who've had like one bad concussion and have been like, nah. Like doctors have told them you probably shouldn't, so they've been like, nah, I'm done. And maybe that needs to happen more. I don't know, like you can get career-ending injuries in all kinds of ways, but maybe that needs to be a thing with concussions as well. He essentially has his own podcast. It's just videos. I guess podcasts are just usually bloody long, right? Podcasts are usually like an hour. Why don't you do a podcast, then you can make a Discord, ask your fans to join you. I know I'm getting old because whenever I jump on Discord, I never know what the hell is going on. Like, I don't know if you guys have been playing Among Us. I played a little bit Among Us. I tried to get on the Discord and I had no idea what the hell was going on. That's how I know I'm getting old. Like, I need to ask my son. But he's still too young. He's only 5. Son, how do I use this thing? I don't know what's going on. Callum Gibbons is on the way to America. I didn't know that. Which team is he going to? Didn't that happen to one of the Barrett brothers? Yeah, Kane Barrett. Kane Barrett had one really bad concussion and he called it quits. Who was that prop? Ben Afiaki. He had one really bad concussion, never got over it, called it quits. Far from the only one. You can get guests in via Zoom or in person and just talk rugby. True. I could do. I just need more time, man. My kids are running around half the time. Maybe when they're a bit older. Almost at 30,000. Yeah, man, we're getting there. Bro, that t-shirt is, that jersey is so small, Stephen Donald. I'm at 6'15", and his shirt is tiny. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Oh, Sally. Thank you, mate, for the donation. Much appreciated. Stephen Donald has just snuck that inside the post. Cheers, brother. I hope you're going well. You're back in the UK now, right? You're not still in Cyprus. Going to watch my 4th World Cup. It started from 2011. I'm a few ahead of you. But even I can't go back to the pre-95 ones. That's before my time. But I've gone back and watched some in my free time. Tim says I'm not watching this. Why, man? A team in black beats a team in white. What's wrong with that? Issues with podcasts is finding the right platform. Yeah, that's true. I don't know much about podcasts, to be honest. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, which may be partly my issue. Again, I don't have an hour usually to sit and watch a podcast or listen to a podcast. But that's the price of having 2 young children who require a lot of attention. Whoa. Here goes France. Man, Rougerie is a big unit, isn't he? Wow, the French have got numbers to burn here. How do they not score? Back in the UK because of COVID. What a try. What a magic try. I didn't remember that being so soon after we kicked the penalty. Why back in the UK? Because of COVID. Is Cyprus not doing well with the COVID? My 13-year-old has started streaming on Twitch, but one rule, she only can when her dad can moderate. Yeah, that's probably sensible. Probably sensible. I was 9 when this happened. I was a bit older than that. Man, what a try, honestly. Alright, man. Have a good night, Roman. Great try by the French. Yeah, man, it certainly was. Amazing this is the last points we're going to see scored of the whole game. YouTube isn't ideal for podcasts unless you're just posting highlights or you're already a channel known for podcasts. Another option is to go Spotify or Bandcamp and set up a presence from scratch. Yeah. I know, like, I do watch a bit of... It used to be House of Rugby. Now it's The Good, the Bad, and the Rugby. I've watched that podcast. Is that even a podcast? It's just a YouTube channel. And the Irish House of Rugby one I've watched a fair bit. Yeah, I sometimes watch Off the Ball, but that's like more of a radio show than a podcast. But I guess what's the difference nowadays, right? The other day I watched South Africa AB semi, one of the great games of the decade. Yeah, that game was intense as well. Doctors apparently told Gareth Anscombe they've done as much as they can. I think he's going to retire. Jesus, is that right? Anscombe's probably going to retire. Man, that's sad. He used to play for my Blues, man. Before going to the other Blues. Why does everyone want a podcast? Like he does 10 to 12 minute updates, weekly roundups. Rugby can't be converted to podcast. Yeah, I know. Podcasts seem to be a thing, though. Like, podcasts are very popular. I don't have any plans to do a podcast at the moment. I don't have enough free time anyway. I don't know how it would work. I think I would need to have somebody else to bounce them off. And like Big VH says, like, what platform would I just do them on YouTube? Like, I once did a live stream with Gareth Mason where we just talk rugby for like an hour. But again, it's hard for me to find that time when the kids have gone to bed. Time zone works. I don't know, man. Maybe that's just an excuse. Flesh and yeah, the Colorado Raptors left the MLR. That's true. Baz and Andrews one fantastic one for stories. Not so much about rugby. Yeah, I do watch that one a bit. They are quite funny. You need another person and it's too much effort. You have your niche, so stick with it. Hence why you have so many subs. Yeah, man, I'm pretty happy with how things go at the moment, hey? If I had more free time to do more content, I'd probably do it. But, yeah. Like, I know Squid does a podcast about the 2011 World Cup, but I don't have really time usually to listen to that kind of stuff. I will usually make an effort for the good, the bad, and the rugby if it's a good guest. Off the Ball is done for a radio station. I thought so. It feels like a radio station. Yeah. I remember once, who was it? Former Ireland coach that was like live on the air. He got lost during a question and was like, can we edit that bit out? And they were like, we're live on air. No. Favorite World Cup so far, Dan, is the 2015, for sure. But 2019 was also awesome, honestly. Even though the All Blacks didn't win, how good was that tournament? It had so much spice to it, right? Japan getting through, frickin' typhoons, which wasn't ideal. But, yeah, New Zealand getting beaten in a semi. No need for a potty, as said before. You have your niche everyone loves, so just skip to that. People need to realize time and effort a podcast take. Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about podcasts to know the amount of work that goes into it and the return that you get out of it. I kind of get a feeling for that with YouTube. Like, I know how much each video will take me to get ready and whether that's kind of worth the investment. Like, I did the Mitre 10 Cup one year and people still ask for it. Hey, you going to do Mitre 10 Cup videos? But honestly, the viewer numbers are just not there. Like, there's a lot of Mitre 10 Cup games on every weekend. To try and watch as many of those as I can to see it get, like, I don't know, 200 views. It's like, that's depressing. Yeah, so just got to work out what works for you. I have Rugby podcast on in the background. A radio or something when doing something else. Yeah, I kind of do that with YouTube videos, I guess. When I'm doing work that doesn't require me to like be in deep concentration, I can put something on in the background. But it's usually not rugby related, actually. It's usually like freaking World War II stuff or, I don't know, COVID update news or anything. Easter Nathiwa doing anything in New Zealand. He did a bit of commentating here for a while, actually, when he first got back, but then I haven't seen anything from him since, so I'm not sure what he's up to. Oh, Jean de Villiers, Use It or Lose It. I have watched a few of those, yeah. I have watched a few of those. But then they've just disappeared. They've just gone and stopped doing them for months, so that's kind of frustrating. Consistency, man. Like, my shtick kind of is I do videos pretty much every day. Like, it's pretty rare that I don't do some kind of video at least once a day. So if you click on my channel, you probably know there's a new video up. There's something about that which is like, I don't know, like it's nice to know that if I go to that channel, I know there's going to be new content. If it's weekly, you know, like, oh, it's Sunday, there'll be a new video. You know what I mean? But if it's irregular, that's kind of annoying. How long does a review preview vid normally take to set up? It depends if it's like a one game preview or if it's like a round, like Super Rugby round where I preview multiple games. I usually have to look up the teams that are playing, write them down. I like to write them down on paper, but sometimes I print them. What are positional changes from their team the week before? So that means I've got to look up like 2 weeks of games. Look up any kind of key stats that I think might be pertinent. What's the recent record between the teams? Look up the bookies odds. Look up the rugby forecast odds. So, I don't know. If it's like one game, it doesn't take that long. 15 minutes. If it's a round, maybe longer. Yeah. Just depends how much detail you want to go into. It can take a while. The work rate is absolutely mental. Yeah, that's why I don't play a lot of like video games or listen to a lot of podcasts, probably. Like, I used to just freaking play video games. Like, yeah. So now I just watch more rugby. That's a good trade-off, right? Best Rugby World Cup final 2011, 2003, or 95? Oh, goodness me. Maybe 2003. That's got a pretty dramatic ending. Use It or Lose It is just a reminder that Jean de Villiers' head is too small for his body. I've never noticed that. He does seem to have messed up his teeth a bit, which is one thing I've noticed. Are you making a living from YouTube, Marius? Nah, man. Unfortunately not. YouTube is, I don't know, it can be pretty inconsistent. Some months are okay, like the Rugby World Cup month was okay, but no, I can't pay the bills. I still need a day job. John has weirdly started lifting more weight since he retired. Goodness me. If rugby union to grow in China, they have to compete with other countries. If rugby union to grow in China, they have to compete with others to grow sports in the country. And Pocock is number 6 of the decade. Nah, not number 6 of the decade. I thought that was a bit weird. China and rugby. It's a tough one because the physical nature of the game is not popular with most students, young people, and a lot of schools don't have good grass fields, at least from my experience. I go back to work on the 5th of Mum. The university I work for is closed over New Year and Christmas. Looking at the game now, I have the same feeling I had 9 years ago. New Zealand not looking like themselves at all in the second half. They do look nervous, don't they? 2002 would be the best final. However, as a Welshman, I can't stand it. Okay, fair enough. USA rugby will never grow in China. Holy Grail is the USA. That might be right. Even with 2,900 subscribers, 29,000. Goodness me, how much beer have I had? Not too great. Maybe add some more ads to your videos. Maybe I just need cheaper children, man. If internationals are on Marius, honestly, it's better. But internationals are not on for the majority of the year, so it's alright. I can't complain. China and rugby not in the next 90 years. Yeah, it's not. It'll get bigger with the sevens being in the Olympics, but apart from that, that's the only thing that's going to grow it, I think. Isn't China's president obsessed with soccer? I believe so, but honestly, basketball is the main sport when you're over there. That's one of the penalties I think they complain about on that video. The autopsy of a final. I don't know. I can't tell at scrum time. It looked like the French guy went down first, but who knows? You thought of USA getting good at rugby scares me. It'd be great. There'd certainly be more money in the game if the US was getting really big into it. Rugby probably needs more ads, though. The MLR has a conveniently placed water break quite often, which allows for advertising, which is not a bad thing. If you aren't already, is it sponsored by a VPN service? I do have like an affiliate relationship with the VPN. But it's kind of like, I'm happy with it because I still use that VPN. So it's not like I'm like, buy this phone that I never used or would recommend, but because they're paying me to do it, I'll do it. You know what I mean? But they don't sponsor me in terms of they say like, hey, here's some money, make a video. It doesn't work that way. It's like if you mention the VPN and people sign up through your link, then you can get like a commission. But again, I don't mind doing that because I know it works. And usually it's going to save money to people so they don't have to pay something else. So, yeah. They could do a super sport does and have a smaller screen that has adverts around it. My cousin works in Seattle and he's there. He said their team's growing support hugely. NFL fans switching because of the free-flowingness of the game. NFL does take a long time. Like, I haven't watched a lot of it, but I know it takes a long time. It's kind of, I don't know, the timeouts at the end can take quite a while. Would Hooper be will be the Super Rugby 7 of the decade? Looked at his stats today. He leads flankers in meters, tackles, second in pilfers for the past 6 years. Yes, he is a pretty good player, man. He's a bit more dynamic than most of the guys who play 7. He certainly carries well. One stat that he usually suffers is his tackle completion rate because he goes for a lot when he knows he's not going to be able to make it. SAAB semi-final also a banger to watch. Yeah, mate. That's kind of similar to this game, and it's kind of a bit of a grind between both teams, eh? I understand Seattle becoming a rugby city. The Seawolves are just so good. I have a Seawolves jersey. I'm pretty happy with that. It's a nice jersey. Which player do you think is the best in rugby right now? Antoine Dupont is probably, or Semi Radradra, right? Those guys are just freaks. It's another penalty for France. This is the penalty where I had to, when I was watching this game live, I had to go to the toilet because I couldn't watch them take this kick. I couldn't do it. Oh, Cheslin Colby, that's true. Cheslin Colby. Artie Savia. There's a few, isn't there? Dupont, yeah. Listen to the crowd boo. He's missed it. He's missed it by a mile. I don't think I've ever seen that kick before because I didn't watch it at the time. As a Frenchman, Dupont for sure, but bias. Semi wouldn't make my top 10. Highly overrated. Not even the best 13 in the world. Like ALB more. Sometimes I think Semi should play more on the wing. He floats out on the wing a lot anyway, even as a 13. But, yeah. His ability to offload in the tackle is pretty amazing. Don't even remember this part, but yeah, if he got this, I reckon France would have won. Yeah, at this point, the All Blacks do not look like scoring any points, do they? Bloody hell. It's messy. Lost it with that kick. Do you reckon O'Connor's one of the best players in the world? Would he make my world 23? Probably not. If I had to have an Aussie player, it would have been Pocock. But maybe Hooper. Taniela Tupou. There's certainly some good Aussie players. Semi was a prick at my club Toulon. He wanted to leave because they didn't let him play 12-13, so he created a leave. Is that right? Okay, I didn't know that context, mate. That's interesting. Constant argument about Colby and Adams. I'm very biased. Adams is a Cardiff and Wales fan. I also rate Josh Adams, man, but people give him a lot of stick. I don't know why that is. Think about the South African Super Rugby teams joining the Pro 14. Will it really fix the issues of the league being uncompetitive? The Sharks got stuffed by the Cheetahs. Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel for the Cheetahs. I feel like the Cheetahs, if anybody has been screwed, it's them. Semi's a wing, isn't he? I think naturally he's a wing. In Bristol and Fiji, he mostly plays in the midfield. Semi's a wing and a centre, but he's being a better wing in my opinion. I've always liked him on the wing. Even in rugby league, he played on the wing. Do you think the Reds can pick up their act next season? I hope so. They've still got Brad Thorne for another year. So they made the final. Now all they need to do is kick on. I believe in Brad. What can I say? I meant to say the Sharks got stuffed by the Cheetahs. Yeah, I know what you meant. I saw that result. I didn't see the game though. Hugh Bladden is so boring to listen to. He's a pretty old gentleman, isn't he? He's getting on. So I don't mind him. He's a traditional comforting voice. Like, I'm also not one to get like real hyper excited about stuff usually. So I can kind of feel a bit of connection with Hugh. Semi got found out against Uruguay at 13. The player he was using from Uruguay outplayed him, and now he quit rugby. To be a chef? Are you serious? Are you serious? Come on, Uruguayan centre. Play rugby. I guess a chef's a pretty good career as well. Just remember a few games of commentating, no real excitement. Yeah, he can tend to just steady as she goes. I know what you mean. I think he maybe is better suited to being like the... I don't know what they call it in British English. American is like the color commentator and like the play-by-play. Like the play-by-play is usually a professional broadcaster, and the color guy is usually a former player who adds like some insight into the tactics or something. Maybe Hugh would be a better color than play-by-play. But then, like I said, I don't mind Hugh. Same with our Marius. Semi is just a great back before he has any particular position. He used to play in teams, probably not the best. He's on the wing, maybe. Jack Goodhue's ex-mullet. Yeah, I like him on the wing best, but maybe he wants to play centre. Do you think France has a chance in Tokyo? Or Fiji will win? When is that? Josh Adams just has the basics of his jobs very well. He's a great finisher. Defense is great. Under the high ball, he's pretty good too. I like Josh Adams, man. He was like highest scorer from the Rugby World Cup for a reason. I don't understand it. Like, I remember I picked him for like a Lions team video once, and oh my goodness, the flack he got. Why didn't you pick Johnny May? Johnny May is so much better. Johnny May. And I know Johnny May is good, but at the time I was like, I prefer Josh Adams. Maybe now I would pick Johnny May, because I think Johnny May in 2020 has been pretty good. Maybe better than Josh Adams, but they're both good players, man. It's not like one is rubbish and the other's a legend. They're both very good. Oh, Rugby Olympics in Tokyo. Took us sevens. Bro, I don't watch enough sevens to comment. I know generally Fiji, New Zealand, South Africa's sevens teams are pretty good. Adams is top class. He just gets random haters. I can tell you, if he was English, he would be loathed. Josh Adams is class, and I'm a Scarlets fan. Okay, I'm glad you guys see what I also see when I see him play, because he's a good player. If Adams was English, I'd hate him. Came to Leinster for about a month and left with a league and a Heineken Cup medal. Are you talking about Brad Thorne? Adams scored a hat-trick on Semi 2 and Semi got man of the match. Are you serious? Man, look at Richie. Hell of a tackle. Jack's going to bed. Yeah, fair enough, mate. Sorry, I haven't been talking about the game much. The chat's been pretty interesting. I'm 71 and a half minutes into this game. This game's got less than 10 minutes to go. Man of the match for this one. Both the captains have been pretty good. I mean, Duseswa has been very, very good, hasn't he? Thoughts on All Black songs? What are we talking about, All Black songs? All Blacks World Cup songs. Again, what are All Blacks World Cup songs? I remember this game as I had my first serious injury, broken foot. Oh, really? All I remember is I was in Wuhan, drinking beer, very nervous. I'm probably smoking cigarettes like a maniac with an Aussie guy who was a league guy who didn't really give a shit about what I was watching, but he was, because it was on at a weird time in China. It would have been like, I don't know, the early evening or like late afternoon, because like 5 hours time difference. So I was sitting there stressing and he was just kind of chilling out having a beer. Thoughts about Australian rugby at the moment? Heard a rumour Andrew Forrest is a billionaire and the Force owner may step in soon. Yeah, because Qantas has backed away as the sponsor of the Wallabies, so maybe he's going to step in and sponsor them. Maybe he can influence. I don't know. If I was Rugby Australia, I'd be looking for that money. I know Rugby Australia struggles because Australia is a really competitive market for sports. And they have kind of a direct competitor with League, which is generally much more successful in Australia than Rugby Union is. All Blacks had a World Cup song called All Black Everything. It's really cheesy. I have not heard it. Nov Mum says this is the first year she got into rugby. Nice. Fleshin hasn't seen much wrong with the reffing. Like, again, I'm only watching it casually as I talk to you guys, drink this bottle of beer, but I haven't seen stuff which is, like, egregious. I don't know what the penalty count's like, but I don't think it's been totally one-sided. Andrew Forrest is a billionaire, supports the Force, but apparently Rugby Australia is set to take ownership of the franchise again. Ooh. The politics that go on there is a bit beyond me, I'll admit. Angry is off to bed, fair enough. Don't bother with the song, it's complete nonsense. Okay, I will leave it. Did you listen to the Australian national anthem sung in the Euro language recently? I did see that game. And apparently that caused up a bit of a controversy as well. I don't know, man. I guess that's one thing you can say about life, apart from COVID, that's kind of a common thing, is that nowadays anything can be a controversy, right? Controversy can come in any form. Gotta love controversy. Recently read Richie McCaw's book. Have you seen his movie? I haven't seen his movie. Forrest made 4.8 million during COVID. Think he's now Australia's richest man. They need his help. He's pretty rich. I don't know why Rugby Australia would turn down his money unless he's got lots of strings attached, which is possible. This AB team is good, but we got depleted by injuries. We did have a few. Less than 5 minutes to go now. 4 minutes to go. Oh, Rouge just bumped off Conrad Smith. Conrad Smith should probably have an HIA after that one. Goodness me, but he's back up. Gordon Bray, good commentator. Deuces Toir was a beast and educated too. So graduated something like civil engineering. Can't remember precisely what, but not many high athletes have that level of education. Interesting you mentioned that because I just mentioned Conrad Smith getting smashed in the head. He got a law degree as well. Like back in the days of amateur rugby, that used to be a thing. The guys would often go to like university and get educated, but nowadays that is not a thing at all. Man, Deuce Toir, 21 tackles, 60 run meters, 1 try. Bro, he is man of the match. Lions captain for 2021. We're talking maybe if you go in Gatland, you're probably thinking Owen Jones, at least for tour captain, even if he doesn't play all the matches. Be weird to see Aussie rugby jersey without a Qantas logo. That's true. Viable solutions. Man, we're almost finished. Jamie Roberts is a doctor. So is Duplessis, not Bismarck. Yanni Duplessis is a doctor as well, which is unbelievable. He does not look like a doctor at all. Come on, man. Yanni Duplessis can't be a doctor. Can you imagine going to that man and saying, I don't know, I've got like an ingrown nail. I want you to do something about it. Nah. Nice jersey. Yeah, this jersey is kind of matching to that one, but not quite, almost. Owen Jones has a law degree as well. Is that right? Goodness me. All good, Viable. I hope you're well. This game's got 4 minutes left. New Zealand's hanging on for grim death. Yeah, no, Jamie Roberts doesn't look like a doctor either, honestly. He does not look like a doctor. Top two from Pro 14, Top 14 in Premiership, and the New Zealand and Aussie Super Rugby. That could be nice. What about a South African team, though? Recently read McCaw's autobiography. His description of the final made me feel nervous as all over again. Bro, I haven't read it. I'm sure my dad has got a copy. I'll have to see if I can find it. Forex used to be a sponsor of the Aussie rugby team. I can't believe it. That jersey is from a time when jerseys were made to last, not like the ones they pump up now. I admit, I've had this one since probably before this World Cup, and it's still going pretty strong. Man, there's only a minute and 45 seconds to go. The All Blacks are just running the clock down, absolutely. Israel Folau could sponsor the Wallabies. Oh no, don't go there. All Blacks have got a penalty. Yanni Duplessis removing ingrown toners like crouch behind set. Yeah. Nah. Would look better on you. Now I remember this World Cup. Bryce Lawrence enters my head. Now you're angry, Marius. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Oh, South Africa's team would be in the Pro 14. Then you have to call it Pro 16. My AB jersey from 2004 still looks new. Good quality. Man, there's only like 40, not even 40 seconds, 30 seconds to go. I remember when we get to full time, the All Blacks guys start celebrating like they've won, but not Richie until the ball actually gets kicked out. And my kids into rugby. My son, I think by association, even though he's only 5, is essentially getting into rugby a bit. Like if I'm watching rugby in the morning and he gets out of bed, he will come and watch the rugby and he'll be like, hey, that's the Stormers, that's the Cheetahs. And I'll be like, shit, how'd you know that? Yeah. Yeah. Penalty. Here, the All Blacks guys start celebrating. Where's Richie? He's not celebrating. Richie's like, nah. Richie's like, kick that freaking ball in the touch. Now I'll put my arms in the air. What's the next one you're watching? I think we should do 2015, right? Gings, what do you reckon? 2015. We need to do the 2015 final. I think we have to. Honestly, at this point, I wasn't even happy. I was just relieved. Like, oh my goodness. It wasn't celebration. It was just relief. Like, if the All Blacks couldn't win a World Cup at home, they were never going to win a World Cup. Yeah. This is the game that the Voodoo... Yeah, the Voodoo would have been strong if we'd lost this one. Unbelievable. Mark, man, I hope you're well, bro. Over in the States. Christmas was good, thank you, mate. Well, I've still got the kids at home for another... Goodness me, how many days? Like a week? Yeah, the kids go back to their daycare like next Wednesday, so... Lord help me, I've got to keep them entertained. 2014 Super Rugby Final. Who's that between? 2014. Crusaders and who? '15 finals basically catnip for Kiwi fans, yes. I think so. But it's still a good game. Because just when the All Blacks are getting on top, Ben Smith gets yellow carded, Wallaby scores some points, and it's game on. And then it's not. England-Wales 2015 is the warm-up. Oh, that's a good game as well. My son does start school next year, Nov Mum. Yes. He starts school in February, yeah. Bro, why are they interviewing Thierry Dusautoir like straight after the game, man? Just leave him be. Do a Rugby Sevens tournament watch along. Yeah, true. True, especially with the Olympics hopefully coming next year. That'd be a good one to do. Bro, Ian Smith, just let him go. He wants to leave. You've asked him 3 questions. Just ask him 1 question. Let him go. He doesn't want to be there. Come on, man. Nah. Ah, goodness me. Sam Burgess was blamed for England losing that game even though they were winning and they took him off. Sam Burgess attracts that kind of attention. Territory 55-45, position 55-45 in France's favour. Turnovers 1-4-3, pretty even. Lineouts, tackles made. New Zealand had to make 111-87. Okay. Toulouse, Leinster, 06. He's absolutely shagged, is what he's going to say. Next should be 2015 quarterfinal over France. That was a good game as well. Burgess sucked. We shouldn't have been there. Oh, man. Except anything Northern versus Northern team. Yeah, Wales England's a good one for that 2015. I never got the thing of interviewing players straight after the game. We wait till the press conference to let them breathe. Bro, the worst ones are like the half-time interviews. The guy's like trying to jog off to have a break and like shove a microphone in his face. How did you think that half went? You're down by 25 points. Not very good. Bro. Or like the coaches' interviews mid-game. Like, I don't know. I don't think that adds a lot of value personally. All of that being said, I did watch Bristol against Harlequins like yesterday, and Pat Lamb's mid-game interview was hilarious. It was honestly gold. Yeah, where he's just like, I told the guys, there's the door. If you want to get onto the bus, just go. Because he was really pissed off. I could feel that. I've heard Pat Lamb interviewed before, and he was really, really pissed off. And yeah, Nov Mum, this is the one where Richie had the broken foot. Halftime interviews don't happen in England. I find that weird in the Southern Hemisphere. Yeah, it's just a Super Rugby thing. Especially in Australia. I'd get interviewed after a workout if I was paid $250k. Yep. Maybe that's just part of the deal, isn't it? Part of the deal. It wasn't pretty, but it was pretty effective. Okay. He disliked Chris Ashton immensely. I never liked his big swan divey thing. I always have found that to be so cheesy. I've always hated it. But that's it. When Toulon won, Wilkinson whispered something to Ghetto, and journalist asked what it was. Wilco said in French, it was in English, so you wouldn't understand. Okay. This isn't like his showboating. I don't watch much League Volleyball, not much, every now and again. Remember once the regional game, they tried to interview a prop at halftime. He said, how do you think the first half went? He said, well, it was a half and it happened. Nice. Yeah, it's not one that I've ever really understood. Okay. 2011. Man, I might have to watch this again with like, I don't know, no beer and really focus. But I didn't think the ref was a huge influence on it just based on a casual watch then. Both sides had their chances. All Blacks way better in the first half. French way better in the second half. All Blacks a bit lucky, but French missed penalties. All Blacks missed penalties. Both sides left points out there. So, yeah. All right, guys. Finish the beer. You guys all take care. Keep washing your hands and all that good stuff. Take care of yourselves. And, yeah. I'll see you guys again for another one soon. See you.